to say what he believes in, and I'm sure, I mean, there will be other people, theologists or scientists, who would confront him in the right way.
Aslan there in Istanbul, thank you very much indeed. Let's go now to our next caller, Dominic Rentiens from Australia. Your question, please, to Professor Dawkins.
My question to Professor Dawkins is where does he sit with quantum mechanics? Because I see in his book, just for example, that he declares miracles have no scientific merit at all, but as soon as you come into the area of this new physics, of quantum physics, you do have a situation where thought is believed to can influence physical events. You have particles that are possible to be in two places at once. So Mr. Emoto has done some experiments with the effects of thought upon water, the molecular structure. I just wonder where he sits with this kind of new and rapidly developing science. I mean, new in the scientific world.
Right, let's see. Richard Dawkins, we're moving on here then from Darwinism, from natural selection, to an area of science that you indeed acknowledge in the book is in your terms, less precise. We can be
I'm not sure about less precise, but certainly deeply mysterious. Mm-hmm. And quantum physics has two extraordinary properties. One, it is very, very mysterious to the human mind. Things like the two-slit experiment, which the caller referred to, and also the predictions that you can deduce from quantum theory are astonishingly accurate. They are just astoundingly accurate. Richard Feynman said it's equivalent to predicting the width of North America to the accuracy of the width of one human hair. But Richard Feynman also said...
So how would you relate that to arguments over the existence or otherwise of God?
Richard Feynman also said, if you think you understand quantum theory, you don't understand quantum theory. Now, what the caller has done is to confound two kinds of mysteriousness. He has said quantum theory is mysterious, and it gives the appearance, at least some interpretations of it, give the appearance that thought can influence things. Miracles are deeply mysterious. That doesn't mean in the slightest degree that the miracles, things like the raising of Lazarus, the virgin birth, the turning water into wine and things like that, have any connection whatsoever with modern physics. It's a typical piece of obscurantism to take something that is very deeply difficult to understand in modern physics and to tie it up with some ancient legend which has no connection with it whatsoever. And I recommend the caller to read the works of the physicist Victor Stenger, who goes into these matters very well.
Okay, right. We'll leave that there and turn to our next email from J. O'Brien in London. Atheism works. J. O'Brien writes, if you are a fat and happy, educated Westerner with plenty of time on your hands and a bank balance that allows you to spend time pondering your own navel and the universe's, no God equals no hope. Quick response to that?
If that were true, then it would not bear in the slightest degree on the truth of atheism. If it were true that only fat and wealthy and happy people are capable of being atheists, which it is not true, but if it were true, then it wouldn't in any way make atheism false. If God does give you hope, maybe God gives you hope, but that doesn't make God true. You cannot say that just because you hope something is true, that therefore it will be true.
Okay, well, just a reminder, this is Have Your Say, live around the globe on World Television, World Service Radio, and on our website, bbcnews.com/haveyoursay. We're talking about the existence of God with the author of The God Delusion, Professor Richard Dawkins. What do you believe? Please get in touch.
You can phone Have Your Say on 442087495353 or email us. The address is haveyoursay@bbc.co.uk. You can also send an SMS text message to 447736 100 100. All of those details and information on other ways to get in touch are on our website, bbcnews.com/haveyoursay.
now via the internet from Rome is a professor of ethics and media at the European University of Rome, Father Jonathan Morris. Also the author of the soon-to-be-released book, The Promise, God's Purpose and Plan for When Life Hurts. Father Morris, recently the Pope published an encyclical about hope, but in which he attacked atheism. Just tell us a little bit more about that first, and how that relates both to the subject of atheism and to these arguments over the existence of God.
Well, let me just say, as I was walking over here to the studio and passing by the window of the Pope, I thought to myself, this is the perfect, or nearly perfect, thinking man's Pope. And it's great that Richard Dawkins, and it's a pleasure to be talking to you, sir, is living during the same time. Now, I also thought of another thing when I read the encyclical, and that is this. When John Paul II, in March of 2000, came into St. Peter's Basilica, and he made an unbelievable statement. He said, I want to ask forgiveness for the actions of those Christians who have committed evil in the name of religion. Amazing. And then I would say the deputy of doctrine, at the time Cardinal Ratzinger, becomes Pope, and he writes this encyclical, and he says, you know what? Christians, or religion, true religion, does not have a monopoly on fanaticism. And he takes us back to the horrendous activities of the last century, of the 20th century. And he said, in the name of atheism, Hitler, Stalin, Mao committed what unbelievable atrocities, we could say 100 million at least, arbitrary killings of the innocent human beings. We compare that to, for example, the Spanish Inquisition, for which, at least in part, the Pope was asking forgiveness. We could say maybe 5,000 and 10,000 horrific acts as well, no doubt, of forcing religion. But the Pope is saying, if religion does not in any way have a monopoly on fanaticism, you and I, Mr. Dawkins, need to stand together. And we need to say terrible things have been done as well in the name of atheism. I think that's the point of bringing in, I would say, of Pope Benedict, the likes of Mr. Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, and he does it really reaching out to a hand, not to condemn, but to invite for real dialogue.
All right, let's get Richard Dawkins' response to that.
Terrible things were done by the Spanish Inquisition in the name of religion. Terrible things were done by Hitler, not in the name of atheism. Terrible things were done by Stalin, not in the name of atheism. Stalin happened to be an atheist. Hitler happened to be a Roman Catholic. Neither of them did their terrible deeds in the name of either atheism or religion. They did their terrible deeds in the name of other doctrines. The Spanish Inquisition did its terrible deeds in the name of religion.
So,
let me respond to that, if that's okay, Mike. Let me just say, I don't think the people who are watching Professor Dawkins really believe you. At least those who are historians. Now, I know you're not a historian. You're a scientist, but you're stepping out of your venue, I would say.
Are you
we
telling
know
me?
that. Let me say this, Mr. Dawkins. Let me just finish real quickly. That Hitler and Stalin, what they did, they were trying to create religion-free utopia. And they had very much a vested interest in not just creating a utopia of secular humanism, but a humanism that is completely void of those who would claim the existence of God. If you'd like to get into that as well, which I know is philosophy and theology, which is not your venue either, I'd be happy to do so.